Jeez. No. My wife reminded me, 22 years ago I was here. I am so old. I actually brought my first wife with me. Which one did you want me to bring? I knew you wouldn't like it if I brought... No, I'm okay. They wouldn't let me come if I brought the others. See, when Rick's not here, I can play. I got to be quiet. He'll probably watch the tape. Shh. No, my wife Lori is here. Hi, hon. She's also the mother of all 4 of our children. And I'm really old, so are they. They're 17, 14, 12, and 11. Oh, man. We actually met here. She of course, I had a reminder last night. I said, honey, we're going Word of Life. There's a dress code. And she was like, oh, again? Yes. Because you see, I work at a camp. I know, it's not Word of Life camp, but it's better. I mean, no, it's a wonderful place. It's a wonderful... Oh, no. I do work at a camp, so we very seldom put this kind of stuff on. But, of course, we were both collegians, and so, of course, we show up, and the collegians are all wearing jeans, and she was like... And I said, I know, I'm sorry. I didn't know. I don't get those notices anymore. I didn't know you could have wore jeans, and just because once you're a collegian, you're always a collegian. There's just no way around it. And some people hold it against you the rest of your life. Just ask Sam Sewell. He keeps reminding me. Always says, Switzer, I don't know why you were. I worked Word of Life Island for, I started when I was 16 in the kitchen, and then I did all their programs. I worked the programming for, I think, 3 summers, different aspects of programming on the island. Had a lot of fun, and I know you guys are picking where you're going, and then the rest of you just be told where to go. And it's and then I worked down in Florida when Rick had a little kid. He was like this high, really blonde hair. I don't know where he is now, but I think he's around here somewhere. He came by and said hi. He looked at me right in my eyes. It's really weird because it's really small and cute. Now he's just taller. No. We're gonna take a look at a particular book. Now I know from last year. Last year was my first time doing chapel, and as you notice, Rick scheduled me to be here when he wasn't because he didn't like it so much. But I know for some of you this will bother you. I do not use an outline, and I know that I found that out last year. I didn't warn anybody beforehand, and by the end of the chapel they were in a complete panic because they didn't know what to write on the notebook because I didn't have an outline. I'm sorry. I am. I'm not saying outlines are evil or bad. I don't have them. I know how to make them. I understand how to make them. I know. I just don't. I just don't. I use. How I usually preach is this way. It's called the narrative style, and it's not it's for some of you it would be very unusual. For some of you it would be no big deal at all. But just so you know, I understand that some of you may walk out of here just going, I don't know what he said. I don't know what he said. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Maybe we can have lunch and talk about it. We're going to... I laugh because of the things I don't say. My mother always said, think before you speak. And I do, but that doesn't keep me from laughing. If I don't get to preaching, I'm going to be in big trouble. All right. We're going to take a look at the book of Philemon, mostly because I get to make a lot of it. What? You don't want it? You don't want it? You want a different one? What, did we just do this? Oh, you did? Okay. Well, we'll go somewhere else. It's fine with me. All right. I forget where that chapter is. What? Where is that chapter? On the bread of I am the good shepherd. So I remember one time when I was here, I worked back when I was here, which was a long time ago. We were not allowed to walk on the grass. No, I'm serious. You get written up big time. You were not allowed to walk on the grass. And I remember walking on the grass. Because, there it is. Because I used to work the morning shift in the kitchen. I don't know if you guys still do that kind of stuff anymore, but I did. And I was really good friends with the cook, and because I learned early, if you ever, those of you going in the ministry, you can write this one down. Always become good friends with maintenance and food service, because as whether you're a youth leader or whatever you do, just because they will let you get into anything you want if they're your friends. It's true. So I used to get up really early, like earlier than you were supposed to, and I would cut across the grass just out of pure rebellion. And I remember somehow that rumor got out, and I had one of those RAs, and he got up and watched me, just on purpose, watched me walk across the grass so he could write me up. And I didn't dispute it, and that really bothered him. I just was like, okay. So I'll take the demerits. I said, you're going to have to get up every morning and catch me if you want, because I'm... Oh, I don't know why I say things like that. All right, we're going to take a look at this. We're going to take a look at we'll take a look at John 6. Is that okay? Is that all right or no? You want a different one? I can go all kinds of places. No. I don't want to bore you with Philemon. You guys know everything. I don't have an outline for Philemon. All right. Chapter 6 of the book of John is packed full of stuff. And I understand that it can be broken down 1,000 different ways. So let me just paint it with a broad stroke. We start out with the feeding of the 5,000, or one of the feedings of the 5,000. I know it wasn't really 5,000 because there were a lot of people there, and they didn't count women and children. So there could have been 10,000 there, 15,000 there, or 20,000 there. I don't really care. There were a lot of people there, and with a lot of people there, it tells me this. It tells me that Jesus was an amazing communicator, and unlike in my little mind, I think in such a Western world mindset. You know, it's the idea that you got 10,000 people and he's standing on a rock and he's shouting out to them all. But that's not the way these meetings went. And that's why they would last all day, is because Jesus would speak and his disciples would listen, and then the disciples would move about the crowd, and the crowd would discuss what Jesus had talked about, and it was something that they interacted with, just the way we're supposed to do with the Word of God now. When Jesus speaks, we're supposed to interact with it. So many times we just get into the Word of God and we just say, oh, I got the chapter title. Woo! I know everything in the book. And that's not true, but that's the way we think. We just think, hey, if I can outline it, then I know it. And that's not the way Jesus taught, and that's not the way the Bible was written. It's written for us to interact with, and that's exactly what people did when Jesus was around. They interacted with him, and that's what was so attractive to them. Because unlike the Pharisees that just told them rules of things to do and places to go and who they could talk to and who they couldn't talk to, who they could touch and couldn't touch, all that kind of stuff, just like, no, stop! I didn't finish. I didn't say it all the way. So, Jesus interacted with the people. And he took his word, and that's why his word was living. And that's the way it's supposed to be now. And that's why they felt love when he spoke to them. Because they knew him. He was somebody who was right with them. And he'd interact with them all day long. And that's the essence of the love of God. It takes a lot more time to be loving than to just tell people what to do. It takes a lot more time to develop a relationship in which somebody will listen to what you have to say versus just saying, you know what, you're just wrong and I'm right. Man, Jesus knew what that was like. So he does this great miracle. And it's funny to me because Jesus does that, the pop quiz there in verse 5. He sees all the great multitude coming toward him, and he says to Philip, how are we going to feed all these people? And Philip does, this really bizarre thing. He tries to use math to answer a question. Math is useless. And Jesus says so. No. Only get my wife's a math teacher. She's fabulous at math. It's useful in some ways. But Philip goes right to the math thing. It's like he starts adding it all up and he says, Lord, it'll take, and I know, well, some say 8 months, some say 8.5 months, some say 8 months and 3 weeks. I don't care how much. He just said it's going to take a lot of money. And Jesus said, oh, no. Wrong answer. Boy, I heard that a lot when I was in math class. I did. I heard it a lot. And so one of the other disciples, pipes up. Because there's always somebody else in class who has the right answer. Oh. There's a kid here with his lunch. Jesus says, oh, well, bring it here. So he bring it. And then he says, okay, tell everyone to sit down. Now that had to take time. And that's one of the things that I always find interesting about the story is how much time does it take to sit 10,000 people in groups? I mean, I've done it. Well, not 10,000, but I've sat group. Unless you're all programmed to come in and sit, it's tough to do because there's always somebody who's talking, not paying attention. You can picture these disciples walking around. You guys need to sit down. You guys need to sit. What do you mean? Why are we sitting? We're going to feed you. Oh, okay. What are we? I don't know what we're eating. Actually, I kind of do, but there ain't much, so sit. And they go around this. You guys need to sit. Can you guys sit down, please? Please. Quiet. Hey, quiet! Sit down. Why? Because I said so. Who are you? Fine. Jesus says so. Oh, okay. Now I can sit down. So they all sit down, and Jesus blesses the food, and I'm sure you talked about, how many. What did it look like? I don't know. Did he make them all close their eyes? Did they open their eyes and see a big pile of bread somewhere? Did the baskets just kind of keep throwing bread up as they pass it around? Did he make the loaves really, really big and somebody had to cut them? I don't know. And that's what's really fun about the Bible. You don't know. Nobody really knows. Make it up. That part, you don't make up the Bible, but I'm never coming back, am I? I'm never coming back. I can tell right now. There's an RA in here going right now going, this man is in big trouble. I'll have lunch with you too. So they eat. And then it tells the disciples, I want you to go gather up the leftovers, which I know can illustrate a lot of the abundance of God and His supply and all that sort of thing. And then they gathered them all up, and they have 12 baskets with fragments of the loaves and the fish. And did the kid get to go home with some leftovers? I don't know. And the men who sat there had seen the sign that Jesus did, and they said, "This is truly the prophet who has come into this world." Man, this was a big deal. This is the guy. This is the man. This is the one. Because I'm full. There's nothing like a full person to be happy about whatever's going on around them. You just do. You just feel better when you're full. Sometimes you get so full you just don't care what's going on around you. Like, Thanksgiving, you just kind of... You want to go do something? No, I don't want to do it. The house is on fire. Oh, well. Pour the gravy on it. Now, interesting verse. When Jesus perceived they were about to take him by force and make him king, he ran away. I think that's significant because I know it has dispensational significance, but I find it significant on a personal level because most of the time we want to be noticed. Most of the time we want people to like us. Most of the time we would like to be in charge, and we say to ourselves, hey, if I preach really good, if I sing really good, if I do something really good, God is going to promote me. I'm going to become noticed. People are going to want to have me around. And Jesus does this great miracle, and the people are getting all fired up. How does he know that? Because he's in amongst the people. He hears them talking. And maybe some of the disciples come to him, and they're like, hey, Jesus, these guys over here, they want to make you king. You think the disciples are depressed about that? No. Wouldn't you be excited if your best friend was going to be made king? Yes. That would be a good thing. King, you're going to be king. You know what that makes me? Best friends with a king. That's a good thing for me. And what's Jesus do? He runs away. He hides in the mountains. You can kind of picture these guys. They finally kind of get the mob going. Everybody's all excited. They light the torches. I don't know why. Mobs always have torches on TV. So they light the torches. They're looking for Jesus. They can't find anywhere. They can't find him anywhere. He's hiding. Most preachers today, if they did a miracle like that, they'd have a TV show. You could buy the DVDs. They'd be incredibly wealthy and very powerful people. Not Jesus. He went to the mountains. Why do you do ministry? Why are you seeking out to be someone who God can use so that other people will notice you and say, wow, you are the best I've ever seen? Are you looking for people to make you king of whatever little kingdom you think you should be in charge of? Your church or youth group or club or... Sorry, I'm meddling. I'll move along. Everybody dissipates. The mob calms down. Everybody goes home. Bunch of boats taken off. Disciples can't find Jesus, so they get in the boat and leave. They take the last boat and leave, which is so nice of them. Jesus, of course, comes walking across the water, freaks them out, which makes perfect sense to me, because I'd freak out if you walked on the water, even if you were Jesus. You're just not supposed to do that. And especially at night, and especially in a boat full of hungry, very cold men at this point, in the middle of the night, who are stuck in the water, which is very hard to do when you're in a rowboat and they're stuck in the water. It's not like their tires went flat or the engine stopped running. They're rowing a boat and they can't go anywhere. Now, if you put 12 guys in a boat that they can't move in the middle of a lake, make them hungry and cold, this is a very ugly relational opportunity. Ugly. I think these guys are about ready to take each other's heads off. Why aren't you rowing? I am rowing. Shut up! Why don't we go back where we came from? We've tried that. Every time we turn the boat, the wind blows against us. Oh man, it had to be nasty in there. In a funny way now, but you wouldn't want to be in this boat. I think that's why Jesus was planning on walking right on by. Which is what the Greek actually indicates. He won't stop. Why would you want to go in that boat? But then they all freak out. Then they have like a common enemy. There's something on the water. Which again, I would have done. I freak out in the dark. My mind is just like in the dark. I don't do well. I don't. I mean, I've come to complete stops walking by myself on a dark road. I just think, and I'm having one of those schizophrenic moments. There's nothing out there. There might be. There is. No, there's not. There's a noise. No, it's nothing. It's the wind. It is the wind. But there could be something. No, stop. You better start moving. You're going to be here all night. I'm telling you, I've freaked myself out to a complete stop. So I don't make fun of these guys when it comes to that. So Jesus speaks to them, and for some reason that makes sense to them. And they brought him in the boat. He's like, guys, relax. It's me. Relax. Oh, Jesus. Come on in. Thanks for inviting me. And what's he do? He does a miracle. Why? Because he does not want these guys rowing the boat. He steps in the boat and it says, immediately they were where they were supposed to go. Whew! How did that happen? What did that look like? If you were a shepherd on the side of the shore and you're looking, and Jesus gets in the... I mean, could you water ski behind it? Or was it like a teleport thing? You know, like... Boop. I picture Philip helping Jesus in, just because he's already in the chapter. And he goes, come on in the boat, Jesus. Okay. We're here. Were you rowing? How'd we do? And you got all these guys holding oars going, holy Jesus Christ. I know. That's why I only mouthed it. I only wanted certain members of you to see it. I did. It's one of the few times you can say that and not be in trouble. I'm in so much trouble now, I don't know why I care. On the following day, I'm never going to get through this chapter. On the following day, when the people were standing on the other side of the sea, there was no other boat there except the one which the disciples had entered. And Jesus had not entered into the boat, his disciples, but his disciples had gone away alone. However, the other boats came and they couldn't find him. They were looking for him. Why did they come back? Because they couldn't find him the night before. They want to find him again. So then they're talking to other people and everybody's talking around. Blah, blah, blah. They say, hey, he's on the other side of the lake. How do you do that? I don't know. He's just over there. I saw him there this morning. Well, we're going to go see him. We'll go right ahead. So off they went. They found him on the other side. And they said, teacher, when did you come here? You can't walk around this thing in one night. How'd you do that? The leftover bread? Do you make a big loaf of bread and... And Jesus goes right to the heart of things. Why? Because he knows these people. He's already spent a whole day with them. He's interacted with them. He knows what they're trying to do. And he looks at them and he says, you didn't come here because of the miracles you saw. You came here because you ate loaves and were filled. And when I think about that, I say, but I thought that was the miracle. But Jesus makes a difference. He says, you know what? You're not here. You're not here because I can do great things for everybody. You're here because I made you feel good. You're here because you went home full yesterday. Not because of my power. You're not excited because of what I could do for the world. You're excited about what I can do for your stomach. He says, you know what? You need to work for something else. You need to work for food that will last forever, which the Son of Man will give you because God the Father has set his seal on him. And they said to him, what shall we do that we can do the works of God? And he said, this is the work of God, that you believe in him whom he sent. First reaction to people who want to get right with God, they want a list of things to do. First thing, like kind of the baby steps. It's like, okay, I want to be right with the Lord. I want to do what Jesus did. What do I have to do? Give me a list of stuff. Because following a list of rules is easy. Anybody can do it. Anyone. And Jesus listens to that and he thinks, oh, you're just fine. Okay, this is what you have to do. Believe on the one who God sent. And they went, well, it's quite a list of stuff to do. Believe on the one whom he sent. And they said, all right. Well, then what are you going to do today? What miracles you got today? If we're going to believe in you, then do something else. After all, Moses made manna come down every day. Except for that one day, every week, but every other day, he made it come down. We got miracles every day out of Moses. What are you going to do for us today, Jesus? And he says, Moses, surely I say to you, Moses did not give you bread from heaven, but the Father gives you the true bread from heaven, for this bread of God is he who comes down from heaven and gives life to the world. He says, you guys don't get it. Moses did not give you bread, everlasting bread that will last forever. He didn't give you the real stuff. God's giving you that right now. He's giving it to you and me. And they said, fine, that's good. We'll take that bread then. I'm just really hungry. We want to eat. Give us some food. And I think Jesus gets to this point. Now I know I'm probably taking a different twist on this. But in my view, purely my view, I think Jesus is frustrated when he says this. Not frustrated in a sinful way, but they're just not getting it. First of all, they come to him and they're like, Jesus, how'd you get here? In other words, why did you come here without our permission? We didn't tell you to come here. We want to make you king. So how'd you get here? Jesus said, you're not here for a miracle. You're not here for the power of God. You're here because you're hungry. Yes, we are. What do we have to do to get the bread? Believe in the one whom God sent. Well, that's too hard. Do something for us today. Do some miracle today. Moses gave us bread every day in the wilderness. Not us personally, but our fathers before him. But we know Moses came up with bread every day. Can you come up with bread every day? In other words, are you as good as he is? Jesus said, pay attention. I'm the bread of life. You're not getting this, gentlemen. Verse 39. This is the will of the Father who sent me, that of all he has given me I should lose nothing, but I should raise it up on the last day. And all this is the will of him who sent me, that everyone who sees the Son and believes in him may have everlasting life, and I will raise him up on the last day. The Jews murmured. They were upset. How? Because he said, I'm the bread which came down from heaven. And they said, is this not Jesus, the son of Joseph, whose father and mother we know? How is it then he can say he come down from heaven? And Jesus answered him and he said, why are you arguing? Well, that's not exactly, okay, you just read whatever you want. He continues to talk to him. He's trying to get this through their heads. Verse 47, most assuredly I say to you, he who believes in me has everlasting life. I am the bread of life. Your fathers ate manna in the wilderness and are dead. This is the bread which comes down from heaven, that one may eat it and not die. And then everybody started arguing in verse 52. How can this man give us his flesh to eat? And Jesus just piles it on. He said, I tell you, unless you eat the flesh of the Son of Man and drink his blood, you have no life in you. Whoever eats my flesh and drinks my blood has eternal life, and I will raise him up on the last day. For my flesh is food indeed, and my blood is drink indeed. He who eats my flesh and drinks my blood abides in me, and I in him. And these things he said in the synagogue as he taught at Capernaum. These are things he taught over a long period of time. We read those verses in a matter of seconds. This was a tough concept. He kept hammering it home. Because what he's saying is, he's saying, guys, this is not about just an event like a miracle. This is not about an outline that I can give you a list of things to do. This is about a relationship that is so intimate, that is so powerful, that it literally infiltrates every aspect of your being. It's like eating me. It's like whatever you eat, how it goes into you and gets absorbed by your body and spread to every cell. He says, that's what you need to do with me. It needs to be a relationship. I'm not about a list of things to do. That's too easy. I'm about love. I'm about intimacy. I'm about being connected. I'm about being infiltrating everything in your life. They were like, well, I don't think we like that. Because they act so much like us. They liked the miracles. Man, that was fun. Remember all those people eating? We were like heroes. Now the disciples are sitting there. These are disciples now. They're sitting there looking at Jesus going, I don't get it. This is tough. This is hard. Therefore, many of his disciples, when they heard this, said, this is a hard saying. Who can understand it? And when Jesus knew in himself that his disciples were murmuring about this, he said to them, does this offend you? What then, if you should see the Son of Man ascend where he was before? It is the Spirit who gives life. The flesh profits nothing. The words that I speak to you are spirit, and they are life. But there are some of you who do not believe. For Jesus knew from the beginning those who believed and did not believe and who would betray him. And he said, therefore, I have said to you that no one can come to me unless he has been granted to him by my Father. From that time, many of his disciples went back and walked with him no more. He didn't say many of the crowd. He didn't say all the godless fishermen ran away and said, you know what, we don't have time for this. Many of his disciples left. Why? Because it was too hard to let Jesus into every aspect of their world. Because it meant a relationship, and relationships mean work. Because you have to live and breathe and work through stuff when you're in a relationship. I know. I've been married to this wonderful young lady for over 20 years. I know. It's a lot of work. And it's one of the nice things in the beginning of a relationship, you know, when you're just all excited, you just think, man, this is just great. And nobody, I mean, they can tell you how much work it's going to be, but you have not a clue. In a relationship that doesn't keep working, a relationship that doesn't keep allowing it to become more and more complicated, is a relationship that will eventually die. And unfortunately, a lot of you know that already. You've experienced it in your homes, and you might have even experienced it personally. You've watched relationships die. Oh, they do all the right things because everybody's happy. And they show up at the right games, and they show up at the right meetings, and they do all the list of things that you're supposed to do when you have a good relationship, but it's not a relationship because it's not infiltrating every aspect of them. It's just a list of things to do. And some of you have seen relationships that are just built on events, that are just built on something really big that happened. And then over time, that big event just kind of dwindles into the background of your memories, and eventually the relationship is over because you really don't have much in common anymore. And Jesus knows this, and that's why he speaks to his disciples. Guys, this is not about the miracles. This is about me empowering you. He says this is not about a list of stuff to do. I could give you a list, but it's not going to help you. It's not going to help you become closer to me, because that is a choice you make about a relationship that we should have. You should be literally just ingesting me. Because that's the kind of relationship that will matter. That's the kind of relationship that will transform your life. Because relationships transform lives. It's because of relationships that you make the choices you make. Your relationship with God, your relationship with others, your relationship or lack of relationship with others, all those things are the reason why you make the choices you do. It's relationships that transform lives. Jesus knew this. That's hard, though. And some of them will just leave. Some will just walk away because it's too hard. It's easy if all we got is a list of stuff to do. So then Jesus turns to the 12 and he says, do you want to go away as well? Do you want to go away? Are you tired? This is too hard for you? Peter, stands up and he says, hey, where are we going to go? You have the words of eternal life. See, Peter got it. Also, we have come to believe and know that you are the Christ, the Son of the living God. You can picture the other disciples going, yeah, good answer. And don't let Philip answer any more questions. He probably would have came up with we got 12 extra baskets of food. Come on. Peter stands up, he says, where are we going to go, Lord? You are it. You're everything. We should all get matching sweatsuits with our name on the back. We're the team. We're the 12. We the boys. And what's Jesus do? He fires another question at them. This had to blow their minds. He says, yeah, you're right. Did I not choose you, the 12, and yet one of you is the devil? And he spoke of Judas Iscariot, the son of Simon, for it was he who would betray him, being one of the 12. You picture him going, yeah, Peter, good answer, good answer. And Jesus says, yes, you're right, you are. You guys are awesome. That one of you is the devil. Who's he talking about? Said you. What did you do? I didn't do nothing. Philip, I didn't answer. I didn't say a word. And he doesn't tell them. I mean, honestly, don't you think that question would haunt them for the rest of their time with Jesus? He told them, listen, I picked every one of you, and one of you is really, really, really bad. Oh. Gotta go. Thank you guys very much. Have a great day.